Three, two, one. Welcome back to another episode of Unlearned and Reborn, a podcast where old habits are unlearned and new ones are reborn. Hey! Welcome back. It's me, your host, Shania Alyse, and welcome back to another episode of Unlearned and Reborn. A little tongue-tied there. Man, it's been 3 weeks. I know. Sorry, y'all. I've been busy. I'm in school. I'm getting it. Last episode was the dusty shelf. As I always say, pause and go back and then come back and I'm gonna wait for you. Stop trying to cheat. But and just talking about how we let our talents go to waste. And if you're doing that, sis, I'm here for you, but I'm gonna need you to cut it out. I'm gonna need you to do better. Little update on me. I killed it in my first semester back on the grid for online school. Shout out to Liberty University. That's where I attend. If you want to be like me, go ahead and sign up. Like they sponsor me or something. But I'm getting my bachelor's in business administration because I just can't get away from it. I love business. I do. And it just comes naturally to me. And even finance, numbers and stuff, come naturally to me. So I'm excited. Like I said, I got 2 A's in my last classes. And now I just started this past Monday. So that's why I've been a little slacking on the schedule. But I'm really trying to get in the groove of recording. So bear with me. I'm going to get it together. By the new year, I should have a system in place and everything should be great. But yeah, that's how it is for me. I'm killing it. And listen, if y'all don't pray before y'all take them classes, try it. Try it out. Because, sometimes, I don't know if y'all have ever been in online school, but like that first week, it's make or break, baby. Sink or swim. Either you got it or you need to go ahead and talk to the registrar and drop that class. Because 8 weeks is no time to be playing around. Like that is if I could do it all over again, I would have never went on campus because the stuff that I can retain and gain in 8 weeks is night and day from the 16-week courses that we have to take when we're on campus. Like I've done both. So I'm not just guesstimating. I'm talking from experience. Like, why are we still talking about mitochondria in week 7? Why? Why are we not further into psychology? I don't understand. Why are we not not psychology, biology? Like, why are we not further down into this course? And that's literally how they draw it out. Like the fact that you can get an online degree and sometimes, depending on how many classes you take, half the time it takes for in-person, baby. And, it's just easier because I have kids and I thought it was going to be the hardest thing ever. Oh my gosh, I'm a mom, I have the podcast. I don't know how I'm going to fit time. Like, I just finished week 1 that isn't due until Monday in 2 days. Your girl's not playing. I did not come to play. Like, I'm trying to get this thing done so that I can enjoy Thanksgiving dinner and I'm not worried about no discussion board. All my college students, you know how stressful 11:59 is. It haunts you forever. It's going to haunt you. 11:59. Listen, y'all, I used to be on that campus playing around, and I'm like really taking my education serious. And, my ultimate goal, I believe I do want to get the PhD. And see, that's going to be a treat for me. Like, the bachelor's is to, it's for all my degrees are for me. But like the bachelor's is to, show my kids like, hey, even when y'all was little, mama still, decided to get this thing. The master's is going to be like, I still was pursuing it, doing what I need to do. But the doctorate, the dizzy, that's for me. Okay? Because if you think once I get that, you ain't finna be saying doctor when you address me, family or not, doctor, I ain't your daughter. I'm your doctor. I'm the doctor now. All right? Respect me. You ain't gonna be able to tell me nothing when I get that doctor. You hear me? I'm sorry. I thought you said Shania. It's doctor. Doctor. But yeah, that's what I've been on. So shout out to the education, and it's paid for. So thank God for that. Okay? Because education is not cheap. But, God's doing his thing and, I'm enjoying it. I'm having fun. I'm not stressed. back to, that's what I was saying. When you pray, bruh, I be praying before I take them quizzes. Like, God, especially if it's something I have to type. I'm an excellent writer, but sometimes getting started with the paper is hard for me sometimes. So I'm like, God, if you just give me the intro, I could do the body and the conclusion. Easy. I just need you to get this paper started. And he'd be like, bet, I'll help you out. So this week, I want to talk to y'all about, let me see, I wrote it down. Make sure I'm on task. If you hear some pictures, I said the picture because I just saw a picture on my desk. If you hear some pages flipping, that's because I'm in my podcast journal. Mind your business, okay? Now I knew what I was gonna say, and I still got to go find it. Ain't that something? We're gonna have to cut this part out. Embarrassing. I'm just kidding. No, like this is legit sending me because I had the topic and everything. Let me look for it. Hold on, y'all. Look, let's play some the Jeopardy music. That's not how it goes. That is not how the Jeopardy music goes. OMG. Okay. I can't find it, but that's okay because I had a great week this week. So it ain't even the end of the week, but I had something that I wanted to share. And we'll pick the topic as we go. Anywho. So yesterday I had my therapy session with my therapist. And I was talking to him and, I'm just like, okay, woo, we're getting into it. Like, all right, like he about to set me up for, our next couple sessions and put me on like a program and, we're going to go, right? Y'all, after I told him how my week had been or the past 2 weeks had been because we hadn't been able to see each other, he was like, you're really growing and, I just wanted to let you know today, I'm going to go ahead and cut you loose. Cut me what now? You gonna do what? I was so, I don't know if devastated is the word, but I was just like, I know this man did not just say that. So today I want to talk to you about how when you have trauma, how if you are not aware, you will be living in a space that you have outgrown. Like, I'm not gonna lie, when he said that, I was just like once I got off the, video chat and everything, I was just like, dang, like, I feel like every time when I get a therapist, they tell me, okay, you're great. Okay, now we can just, cut loose or, if you need me, just schedule yourself back in. So I said to myself, okay, Shania, when one person says it, it could just be opinion. Two people, it could just be, okay, coincidence. But when 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 other therapists are telling you, hey, you can see me on a monthly basis or I can check in with you every 3 months. My job here is done. Babes, it might be something that you have going on in your mind that makes you believe that you are not where you currently are. And I sat there on my bed yesterday and I did start to cry because I was like, man, like, I feel like I can never keep a therapist. But I'm like, sis, it's almost like you're in a toxic relationship with your trauma and you don't want to break up with it because you're talking. And this is the thing, how I know what they're saying has to be true because these are different people. Several different therapists have told me like, wow, like, when you tell me that story, most people would not even be able to get through like the first couple sentences of what you just told me about your childhood trauma. You were able to tell us the full story with details. Not even necessarily that you didn't cry or get choked up, but you can tell that you not only are not there anymore, but you have learned from that experience because of how you speak about it, about the trauma. The trauma does not own you, you own it. And I just sat there on the bed, and I didn't cry long, but I was just like, it was more like a happy, like you ever cried because you are sad, but then they turn into happy tears. That's how it was for me because I'm like, wow. I didn't even notice that I'm not there anymore. Like my brain believes that, okay, this is similar to, the trauma. Oh my gosh, I need to curl up in a ball. I need to freeze right now. I need to panic. I need to think, the danger is among us. And my body, my spirit, my physical being is like, we didn't move out that apartment, you know, years ago, weeks ago. And I just said, wow, how many of us that have had traumatic events in our life are glued to that thing? That's what this title of the episode would be, glued to your trauma. How many of you feel like, man, like it just keeps resurfacing. And the beautiful thing about the brain is that when you have trauma, your brain is going to try its very best to expel that thing, whether it comes out in the form of rage, crying, sadness, depression. You know, you sit in a room with the lights off. Your brain is going to try its best to deal with that thing. But of course, us, depending on how traumatic that event is, our initial response is going to be we are going to feel it, because we're going to be like, oh my gosh, this is a lot. But most people, without even subconsciously thinking about it, and this is what my therapist had told me, he was like, we're going to push it away, because trauma is so jarring to the human body, the human psyche, our mind, our body, that the reaction that we get when we go through something extremely traumatic, it is life altering for our brains. Our brains almost are like jolted in their normal way of thinking. You know, if a child grows up and they have this crazy huge fear of dogs, you ask them, okay, why are you afraid? Most of the time they would tell you, oh, when I was, 5 or whatever, my friend's dog had, bit me, or, I got chased by a group of dogs, something like that. Okay, at that age, that was a very traumatic event for them. The same thing with someone that has been a survivor of domestic abuse, sexual assault, a robbery. Like, I remember when I had got robbed at gunpoint at Family Dollar when I was a cashier, that I did not realize how much that had altered my mind about stopping at like little corner stores like Family Dollar and Dollar General, especially going back into a Family Dollar. I was so afraid to do that, because immediately as I would walk in, and even if I was getting ready to check out, especially if I felt like I was standing in the line too long, my heart felt exactly how it felt when I was when the man had the gun and he was like, emptied out the register. And I feel like that is exactly what happens when we are glued to our trauma. Things can happen in our life, and I'm not saying that they're not big deals. So say if you have always been in relationships where your partner cheats, and say you're in a current relationship and he does something, whether he does cheat or he does something very similar to cheating, or that hurts you in a way, if you have not unglued yourself from that trauma, close that chapter of your life, and continue to write your story, that scenario is going to make you feel like you are back in that, previous relationship when you found out your partner was cheating on you. Same thing if, you had the fear of dogs and you see a dog, walking by, even if it's with their owner, you start to feel that thing. Like your chest may start to tense up. Your hands may start to sweat. You may start to feel like you got a shortness of breath, an elephant sitting on my chest. All of that stuff is signs that you are still attached to your trauma. And I said, Shania, you've been in therapy for a couple of years now. And you're addressing the same things. When you're, telling your spouse about things, you're addressing the same things. Would it not be logical for you to assess you? Because everybody can't be doing the same thing to you. Could it be similar? Yes. But when you're glued to that trauma, your brain says it is the exact word for word, bar for bar, no citation, plagiarized. It's the same exact thing. And that's why your body immediately, because your brain has been telling you that story over and over again without even thinking, this is now your natural response to dogs. You see a dog, you are stricken with fear. You see your spouse put their phone down, face down instead of face up. You're like, oh, yep, he's texting somebody else. He's, talking to somebody on the side. You go into that convenience store and you're waiting in line, and the cashier's like, hold on, let me go back and get my manager because I can't do your coupon. And you're waiting in line, your palms start to sweat. Your heart starts to race. Oh my gosh, like we're about to get robbed. We're about to get robbed. And you're panicking and everybody else is, chilling, waiting in line. Somebody might be talking on the phone. Somebody might be texting, somebody might be, just waiting for the cashier, everybody else. And that's another sign how, you are glued to your trauma. When you can, if you can take a step back and look at how others are reacting to this same situation, and they are more of a level and you are more of a sporadic, like a up and down, or just maybe some of us, we just shoot through the roof. We black out. We don't know what didn't happen. We don't know what we didn't said. We open our eyes and we come to somebody on the floor. You didn't jumped on somebody. The police is being called. Those are definitely, those are more on the high end, but those are definitely signs that you are still glued to your trauma. So I hear you asking, okay, I'm glued to my trauma. Okay. One, know that I'm not judging you because I just had this realization this week that Shania, you have been glued to this thing, but your physical body is no longer there. You're not there anymore, which is why it almost feels like a mumbo jumbo sense type of thing when you're trying to feel those emotions because your brain is like, okay, well, wait, we don't understand. We don't see any danger here. But, you're making us get, riled up and tense. Okay, so, clearly there's something, but we just don't see it. We don't understand what it is. And that's why I'm a firm believer that you really can. People say, oh, words of affirmation, that stuff don't work. Because that's my love language, one. And two, I believe that you can speak yourself in and out of something. You could be broke as a joke and still have joy and still feel like, you know what? My day is coming. My day is coming where I'm going to be able to get out of my mom's basement and get my own apartment. I'm going to be able to buy my first car. I'm going to be able to pay off my student loans. That repetition, because you have to think about it. The same thing happens, but in a negative sense, when you're glued to your trauma. You continue to rehearse this story, true as it may be to you, because there's always three sides to a story: yours, theirs, and the truth. You're going to keep rehearsing this thing over and over and over again until the point that that story is so embedded in you that you could move out the country, meet a guy, marry the guy, be far, far away from your ex, and he could do one thing. And now, oh, he's just like my ex. He's just like, and it's like, how? They don't even look the same. Because you're glued to your trauma and that thing is rehearsed within you. So again, you're asking, how do you unglue yourself? First, you have to realize that you're glued in the first place. Like I told you, I just realized this week that, wait a minute, babes, you are glued. Stuck like Chuck. You glued. Because there's no reason why you should still be in this space mentally when you've talked to several therapists that say, wow, you just have such an insightful way, of saying that story, or, like, wow, that's eye-opening. Wow, for someone that has gone through that, I couldn't even tell. When people are saying things like that and you still feel like, oh, it's doom and gloom, you might want to sit down and evaluate. And even writing it down. Traumatic things that have happened to you, how does that make you feel? And if those feelings match how you feel when similar things happen, that yes, you're glued. And your brain is not understanding the difference between a past and a current. Because you know what you're doing? When you are glued to your trauma, you're putting your past in a backpack, lugging it over your back and walking. Whether you go to work, your house, school, church, you got that backpack on. And to add matters even worse, you have on goggles to where you can only see your past, because that's what it's like to be glued to your trauma. You only see what has happened, not what is happening. You're not able to decipher between the two. So the first step is acknowledging I am stuck. Child, I've been stuck for a minute. And some of y'all have unstuck yourself and got the Gorilla Glue and say, nah, I'm good. I'd rather be stuck. Because there is a comfortability with being in your trauma. Let me help you. There is a comfortability with being in your trauma. You have become comfortable there. As painful as it is, you got the knife and you are sticking yourself with it willingly. Because other people say, oh my God, girl, like, I don't know if you know, but you got a knife in your side. You might need to get that looked at. And you say, oh, well, it don't even really hurt that bad. Or, I've been, and they did, they gave me something, but, it just wasn't working for me. Like, if we look at terms more literal, you would think somebody was out their rabbit mind if they had a knife stuck in the side of them and they trying to tell you they fine. And you see that they're pale. You see that their hands are pale. They're clammy looking. They look like they can fall over any second because they lost so much blood and they trying to convince you they fine. You're not riding in my car with that doggone knife in your side. Let me tell you that. All right? Like, you would look at that person crazy. But that's how it is within our spirits. When we are walking around with trauma, it's like glued to our trauma and we're comfortable there and we don't want to release it. We don't want to let it go. You are killing yourself. And the aggressor, the person that caused the trauma, I'm not saying they might not also have a knife, but I'm telling you, what you're experiencing, they are not experiencing. How do I know? Because they go on with their life. And you see them going on with their life. Yes, I'm sure, people smile, on social media and they could still be having a bad day. Sure. But what I mean is that they don't look how you look. Because that stuff, it starts to, you can try to keep it in as long as you possibly can. But eventually, if your body is sick, it's going to start showing some signs. Whether you can't keep food down, you're running a fever, diarrhea, sweating, whatever the case may be, your body is only going to be able to mask that thing for so long. And you can try to drink it away or, try to temporarily do over-the-counter medicine. Yeah, but sometimes, baby, you need surgery. You need surgery. You need to go to the hospital. Urgent care is not going to be able to help you this time. And that's what it's like being glued. So we're going to acknowledge that we're glued. And 2, we are going to also acknowledge why we are comfortable being glued. There's something within that trauma that feels like home for you, especially if your trauma happened when you were a kid. You are going to find comfort in that thing. Like, just like how kids have comfort blankets, comfort animals, support dogs, all those things, adults have those things too. A lot of the times it might not be in the form of an animal or a favorite, childhood blanket, but we have things that we are wrapped around and engulfed with that are comfortable for us, but that are killing us. Some of us, it's spending money. I realize that too. When I'm sad, baby, I'm going to grab that credit card. Let me tell you, I'm going to go shop. Mind your business. I need a new pair of shoes and a bag. I'm going to do that. That's what I'm going to do. And I realized, I said, okay, first I had to repent. I said, God, it's me again. Margaret, it's me. I said, I have not been being a good steward over my money. I said, because I get a little down. Before I know it, I'm shopping on the town. I'm swiping left and right. This digital plastic. That's what I'm over here doing. Then I get home and I go through all my stuff. Oh, this is so cute. And guess what? You can't wear 16 shoes at once. What do you mean by that? Eventually, you're going to have to deal with that reason as to why you went shopping in the first place. Because, you didn't get that text that you wanted. You didn't get that promotion that you wanted. You got a bad grade. Your kids was getting on your nerves all day, whatever. And you decided to go do some self-care. Some of us need some self-control. Yes, let's practice that. Self-control. So, I noticed that. I'm going to need you to start noticing and start writing down. So after you acknowledge that you are glued, I want you to now start noticing areas that you have become very comfortable with being glued. Some of us, if you are in a deep depression, you won't shower. You won't brush your teeth. You won't take care of yourself. You won't do your hair. Or you have, so there's like extremes of it too. Sometimes it's that. And then sometimes it's the other thing where you're like, you know what? I'm about to throw a party at my house. Like, I'm sorry, I thought you said you were down and depressed. I am. But because I don't want to deal with that, bet I'm about to go be social. I'm about to go spend my money. I'm about to go party. I'm about to go get on that yacht. I'm about to go to, all this other stuff. I don't want to sit in the house by myself. So I'm about to be out living it up. Like I said, eventually you're going to have to come home and deal with it. And that's the beauty about the brain. It's not going to let you forget. And that's because it's not supposed to. Our brains don't operate well when we have trauma sitting up in there. That is, I believe, one of the easiest ways to get yourself sick. And I'm talking about a sickness that they can't even diagnose. That comes from trauma unresolved to the brain. I'm no doctor, I'm no scientist, I'm no therapist. I've experienced this thing. I had so much trauma at one point in time. I was fainting every day, multiple times during the day. I had a Holter monitor on in my 20s. For people that don't know what a Holter monitor is, stickies that you put on your chest, and it's supposed to monitor if you go into it's supposed to monitor if you have signs of irregular heart rhythms. And typically people that have heart problems, maybe have had a recent stroke, maybe have had a recent heart attack, they put you on that. I was 24 or 25 wearing that, having to wear that thing because I had so much stress going on that it was causing my physical body to shut down on me. So I'm telling you something that I've experienced for myself, that when you're glued to that thing, and you become so comfortable with it, it causes your natural body to start to drain, start to wear out. You feel like you never have enough energy. You feel like you never, and cool. They put you on medicine because they feel like that's going to help you. I'm a believer of creating a system that works, right? Everyone should not be put on medication because sometimes you can form an addiction to the medication and now you're dependent on the medication instead of dealing with the reason of why you got on the medication in the first place. So medication therapy and small groups, medication therapy, small groups in church, creating a method that works for you can also help you get unglued. So step one, once you acknowledge that you're glued, and you start writing down the areas of where you have become comfortable being glued. 3, you got to get you a system in place to start to unglue yourself. And a lot of times, depending on how long you have had this, it is hard to do yourself. I have done it because I had a therapist, but they didn't necessarily get deep enough into my childhood trauma. So I would just take bits and pieces of what they would say and try it on myself. It took some real trial and error and then really just surrendering myself to God because I know the type of trauma that I'm talking about, bruh. And even the type of trauma that you are experiencing. This is trauma that is beyond our physical bodies to deal with. And when you try to deal with it all at once, it's too much. And that is why people turn to the bottle. That is why people turn to the club. That is why people turn to sex and drugs, because they're trying to numb that feeling of feeling everything at once. I don't know how many, if you guys have ever felt like an emotional roller coaster of where you just feel, one of my good friends said, she's going through something and it feels like she's feeling the 4 seasons all at once. And I said, girl, that is a good explanation. I didn't tell her I was going to say it on a podcast, but I said, I got to use that. But that makes sense. When you are in an emotional grieving process, I can absolutely see how somebody could compare that to feeling the 4 seasons back to back to back. Because when your brain is trying to grieve, it's like it only can focus on that. It tries to shut down everything else and says, okay, you know what? We are going to, we need to grieve. It's like getting an email. Okay, hey, we need to grieve. And that's the thing about life and stuff. Just like if you lose a loved one, how that song can make you think of them, how that perfume, that cologne can make you think of them. There is no, okay, yes, Monday is for grieving. Okay, Wednesday is for grieving. The body doesn't do a set time for grieving. If you keep ignoring it, it's going to start popping up on you. in just the most random places. And you'll break down at Costco. You'll break down pumping gas. You have a mental breakdown at dinner. That's how that stuff ends up coming out, because imagine a volcano that's been trying to come up, and somebody keeps lying, keeps putting maybe, I don't know, asphalt or, I don't know, something on it to cover the top part hole of it. Eventually, because of the pressure and the gas and the buildup and the heat, it's going to come flowing out. And, God help whoever is around. And that's just the same thing with life when you are trying to deal with your trauma. That's why I said sometimes you're not always able to do it by yourself. You do need someone alongside of you. And that's why I'm such an advocate for therapy, because therapists, they have a way of helping you see what is already there. They are not gurus, and they are not these magicians that say, okay, we're going to talk for 45 minutes and I'm just going to read this crystal ball and tell you about your life. They're going to tell you something that has been with you this whole time. Hey, wow. Have you thought about, getting back in touch with your dad? Because, it sounds like even though he hurt you, that's something that's really important to you. Wow. Oh, I didn't think about that. Or maybe I did, but I didn't want to think. They are just solution suggesters is what I would call a therapist. A professional solution suggester. Because you don't have to take the advice. You don't got to. You can do whatever you feel is best for you, honey. And if that means that you're going to keep, circling around that cycle, feel free. Kick back, put your feet up, and enjoy another round around the mountain. I'll be getting so tongue-tied. Enjoy it, because, that's what's going to happen. But if you're really ready for a change, you deserve to do it with someone that is really serious about helping you. And that's why I'm an advocate for both, not only therapy, because they're going to help you with your physical body, but you also need spiritual guidance through God, through Jesus, through your faith. Like that also, I could never leave that out. I could never just, graze over that part, because that for sure helped me. Times when I was very suicidal and I'm like, you know what? Life ain't worth living. When you are rooted in something beyond yourself, when you can't call your therapist at 3 a.m., when your brain is telling you one thing and, you feeling something else, you didn't run out of your meds, or you didn't already took your medication for the day, and it somehow, some way, you're still feeling this way. And I, not to say that you should wait until, oh my gosh, I, am ready to, take my own life. Life is just so hard. No, that's why I said the third step is to put a system in place of where you have you have help on multiple different levels, because it can't always be that you only reach for God when you are in extreme crisis. I've been there too, because it's like he's not a genie in the bottle. You can't just reach for him when you ultimately feel like you are now ready to need him. If you're going to take him, you got to take him at all times. And it's not easy. I get it. It's not hard. It's not easy because, we are human and we are naturally wired to do things ourselves, do things for ourselves, which we feel like, gives us satisfaction, immediate gratification. But when you're dealing with trauma, everything is not going to be an immediate fix. Imagine just as long as you've been trying to avoid it. What if that was just as long as it was going to take for you to really, heal through it? Which I don't truly believe is true, because even my therapist was like, what most people don't know about emotions is that when you deal with it, it tends to linger less and less each time. And before you know it, this thing no longer bothers you and settles on you in this way that can ruin your whole day, your week, your month, your year. When you are grieving a loved one, being lost and taken from you, the more that you are able to allow the sadness to come, allow the tears to flow, allow you to look at pictures and, be like, man, wow, I really miss this person. Before you know it, even with you looking at the pictures and looking through the videos of you two together, you feel a sense of emptiness without them, or a sense of, distance because they are no longer physically here, but it does not take a toll on you like it used to do, where you would just cry for the whole week and everything is just, oh my gosh, it's so overwhelming. It doesn't happen. And that's because you've allowed your brain to present you this thing that said, hey, remember yesterday when this traumatic thing happened? Okay, we need to deal with this. And you say, okay, brain, I may not really want to, but okay, I'm going to cry. Your brain says, wow, thank you. Now I can release this, emotion through tears, and, we're good now. Thanks for the meeting. And just imagine that's what happens when traumatic things happen to us. And I get it. Some things are not so are not so minuscule. Like I said, some of us have experienced huge traumas, but I don't believe the process changes. I believe the process is very similar regardless of how big the trauma is. If you deal with the trauma will leave. Eventually it will leave. I don't have a number of how many times it takes to cry to get over a loved one. I don't know how many times it takes to get angry at your spouse for, cheating. But I do know that over time, it will become less and less and less because you are dealing with it and your brain no longer feels like that flight or fight when that thing happens. Even when you can always tell that you have mastered a thing. Say, if that person that they deserve to get their behind whooped and drug from the North to the South Pole, and you see them out and about and nothing in you moves, that's always a test for me that, oh yeah, I'm over that. Like, I ain't even bothered by their presence. But girl, when they still can get you wound up and you like, oh, you know what? Forget it. I'm going to just leave the function early because I just saw them walk in. I don't even want to be in the same smelling room as them, You're not, okay, we still got some work. You're not over it. So doing those 3 steps, and I didn't even know that I had done them. And, I'm still working on 3 because I want to be able to write down my system. Like I subconsciously I do it, but I want to write it down so I know and my brain retains, like, this is our system, Shania. When you deal with depression, when you have days where you feel like, it's time to flee, we are going to refer back to our plan. We are going to refer back to our system that we have in place to deal with these things. And, it's just a beautiful thing. Like I said, it was sad tears at first, but then it turned into happy tears because I said, wow, you are not seeing what they're seeing. Like, you are not that person anymore. So that means you can put the backpack down of the trauma and walk away from it. That backpack, it's not attached to you no more. That duffel bag, you ain't got to carry that around no more. You're not obligated to hold on to trauma that has happened to you. It is not your fault that it's happened. It is not your responsibility. It's not your fault that it happened, and it's not your responsibility to continue to carry it through your life. Like, you will have an unfulfilled life and even a very confined life. Because, a lot of people that deal with trauma, they don't go outside, or, they don't want to be around people. So it makes your quality of life go down. You don't even do things that you enjoy anymore. Your day is so full of, just anger and just frustration that you are just not even a person that others may even want to be around, because it's not only just you that is affected when you are glued to your trauma. Your family members and your friends feel it too. They may not know about your trauma because you haven't told them, but they know something is going on with you. You're snappy. That's how I can always tell, I get snappy with the kids. I get snappy at my husband. I'm like, okay, let me backtrack. I'm sorry. Hug me. So, like I said, this season titled Tears and Giggles. We gonna laugh, we might cry, but I really, really pray that whoever listens to this podcast, these episodes of all of the seasons, and for sure season 3, where I dive deeper into, myself and the things that I've discovered about my life and just going through life, I pray that people are able to free themselves and feel free. I even pray that people are able to find their loves again, their passions again, their hobbies again. And most importantly, I pray that someone listens to this and they say, you know what, this girl really be talking about God and Jesus, and I'm going to go ahead and give him a try. Like, I want to know what he about. Yes, I told you, once you join the squad, you in there. We lit. Now you just got to maintain your membership. No, I'm just playing. It's different. Like, I know growing up, I didn't see a lot of influencers that were not as, open, talking about their faith, open with saying, you know what, I came from this in my past, this lifestyle, and boom, I'm here to serve God with all my heart. And I'm young and I'm doing it, of course we see people older than us, our parents even, or people that may be around the same age, but I'm looking forward to the younger generation, like my little sister's age. She's 12 or 13. That age group, seeing them being on fire for God, like that is just so inspiring. And it even reignites your fire when you see young people that don't go with the status quo. They don't got to smoke. They don't got to drink. They don't got to sex. They're really doing something that's different. And of course, when you do something that's different, people going to hate, people going to talk, people going, girl, they not going to run up about it though. So let them talk. That's my motto for majority of things. Either we're going to blow fist, either we're going to throw fists, or we going to like what is it? What is it? What is it? Like, I see why Paul was like he was in the Bible, because y'all doing a lot of chit chat and I ain't got the time. So either do what the Lord said, or you gonna get dealt with. 2 options. That's it. So, I just want to encourage somebody, because life is hard. There are some really rough patches and seasons even that feel like, oh my gosh, I'm going through a battle again. What's going on? And everything is not always devil initiated. Like, it ain't always that you done something wrong. God loves to build our faith and our endurance through trials and tribulations. He loves to build our faith through trials and tribulations that way. And also, it's always remember that what you have gone through is for someone else. You have to think, had I not gone through what I've gone through thus far, I know this podcast would not be a thing. I'll be like, I ain't got nothing to talk about. What am I going to talk about? You go talk about yourself and share your story with people, so people will know, 1, they're not alone, and 2, somebody that looks like them, talks like them, sounds like them, got out of it. Bet I know I can do it too. I know I could do it too. These podcast episodes are encouragement that you don't have to stay where you are. There is always a next. There is always a come up. There's always an elevation period. Do not allow your mind to tell you that you have to be glued to that. Well, your parents, they was glued to it, so you got to be, you don't, no, you don't. No, you don't. You don't have to. You don't have to. You can break that generational curse for you. Your kids will be free. Your spouse will be free. The dog, the goldfish, the cat gonna be free. Everybody gonna be free. Everybody. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. There's more to life than just struggling and hustling and grinding and getting it out the mud. Oh, I get so tired of hearing people say that. I done got it out the mud. Go take a bath. I'm sick of it. Everybody did not come from that lifestyle, especially the people that I know, and they talking about they didn't got out the mud. You ain't seen no mud a day in your life. Cut it. I done had enough. But yeah, listen, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, 1, I love y'all. Like, thank y'all for supporting me. And if you're on YouTube, even if you're not, please come over to YouTube and subscribe, like, comment, subscribe. In the comments, I want you to tell me how you plan to unglue yourself this week. Even if it's one thing, tell me how you plan to unglue yourself from your trauma, okay? Because it's possible. It's doable. I've done it. I'm doing it, which means that you can do it too, okay? Like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. Find me. Holla at me. You can follow me on Instagram. You can follow me on Facebook. I kind of on there a little bit sometimes. Listen, I'm here. I'm excited for what God has in store for this podcast. And just know that you guys will be a part of the journey. You've been a part of the journey. And I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Always, okay? Listen, you know what to do. Come back next week. Hopefully, I should be here next week. And I'll be here and we can chat again, okay? Love you so much. Talk soon. Peace.